Hi everybody, it's the Ninth Wave, and today I'm going to show you how to make trees seasons enabled, or seasons ready, or seasons friendly. You're going to need SimPE, and you're going to need the Sims 2 and the Sims 2 seasons, at least those two. And you're going to need Milkshape and GIMP, and you're going to need one of my trees on my website, and I'll give you the link to that in the description. Alright, so go ahead and open SimPE, and at the bottom go to Object Workshop, and then go to Open, not Start, because we're not making a Maxis. We're not cloning from Maxis, we're cloning from Custom, which would be one of my trees on my site. So press Open, and browse to your documents, EA Games. Mine's called The Sims 2 Ultimate Collection. Yours might be called The Sims 2. Go to The Sims 2 Downloads, and in your Downloads folder you should have one of my trees that I previously made. So go ahead and open up Seasonal Tree 3A. Double click it. Alright. In the clone screen, set default should be checked, so go to the orange and press that, set defaults. And task should be clone. And press next, or you can press start over here. And just press next. And we're gonna rename the title Pretty Tree. And you don't need to change the price if you don't want to. You can change the price, but I'm just going to leave it the same. And click Finish. And just wait for the progress bars and stuff to go way down here. Alright, now you're going to want to erase everything before the hyphen in the model name, and we'll just call this PT TNW. You want to make sure that these characters are all lowercase. You can't have any special characters, only letters and numbers, and you would want them to be pretty short. You want a pretty short name so you can abbreviate things like that. Like I said, PT instead of Pretty Tree. Alright, click Update and OK. And save it to your Downloads folder as Pretty Tree. And press Save. And just wait for it to finish doing its thing. Okay, now go on the resource tree, go all the way down to Texture Image, and click on the first one and click Plug-in View. And we see that it's completely blank. That's what we want to see for our winter textures for the leaves. So the winter light snow is blank, the winter thick snow is blank, and the summer is where you have a texture. So we're going to right click in the middle of the texture and go to Build DXT. DXT format should be DXT3, and sharpen should be set to none. You don't need to change the levels because it's the same size as the texture we're working with. But if your texture is bigger than the texture you're working with, you do need to change the levels to a higher number like 12. Okay, now open your texture of the leaves. So I'm already assuming you have a mesh and a texture made of the leaves and the bark, or the trunk. So that's going to be your summer texture, so click Build. and then press commit. Okay. Now go to your fall texture, and we're going to change the color a little bit. So open it in GIMP. And go to Tools, Color Tools, Hue and Saturation, and bring the hue over to the left some, to where it looks kind of red. And you can maybe bring the saturation up a little bit, and the lightness down. Okay, that looks like a good fall texture. So we're going to save that as File, Save As, Fall. So this is our fall texture. Save it. Now here in this screen you check all these boxes except for Save Background Color. Leave that one unchecked, but check all the rest of them. And press Save. Okay, then go back in SimPE and build DXT. Like I said, format is DXT3, sharpen is none, and you don't need to change the levels. So open your fall texture and click build. And press commit. Okay. Now we can skip Winter Bear because we know that that is blank. So go to your spring texture and go to your textures and go double click on your summer texture. And spring is a little bit brighter, so we're going to bring the hue and saturation. We're going to make the hue a little towards the right, and the saturation up a good bit. Maybe the lightness down some. There we go. Okay, this looks like a good spring texture, so we're going to save as spring. And my version of GIMP is not the latest version, so you might be doing things differently when you save it. You might be exporting it instead of saving it. Okay, back in SimPE and right click and do build DXT, DXT3 and none, and do your spring texture. And press commit. Okay. Now your bark, you can leave that pretty much the same because it just wraps around the bark and it looks pretty good like it is. So I'm just going to leave the bark exactly the same. That's bark with heavy snow, bark with light snow, just regular bark. Okay. Now go to your GMDC and click the first one there and uncheck Tree Hibiscus Null, and then import your tree mesh. Now I'm assuming you already have a tree mesh with two groups, one group for the bark and the trunk and one group for the leaves or the foliage. So go ahead and import your tree mesh, and for bark we're going to replace it with trunk, and leaves we're going to replace it with foliage. Now yours might be named something else besides bark and leaves, but you replace the trunk mesh that you have with trunk in SimPE, and you replace the leaves mesh you have with foliage, and press OK. Commit. OK. And you have to go through all of these doing the same thing, unchecking tree hibiscus null, and import your tree. Replace. Commit. OK. Uncheck tree hibiscus null and import tree. Replace trunk and replace foliage. Commit. OK. Uncheck tree hibiscus null and import your tree mesh. Replace trunk and replace foliage. And uncheck tree hibiscus null and import your tree mesh. Replace trunk and replace foliage. Commit. OK. And in the last one there's no tree hibiscus null, so you don't uncheck anything. It's already like it should be. So press import tree and replace with trunk and replace with foliage. Press OK. Commit. OK. Now look at this poly count. The poly count says 2649. So we're going to go to our object data and in the resource list and erase the last 4 numbers and type in 2649 and press update and do file, save. And that's it. You just made a seasons ready tree. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.